Intros are weird. What's going on, everybody? It's the RedSon rising once again because I'm bored and looks like we've made our first big move as of making this channel. I have somewhat of a script, and it's not a good one. It's literally just like bullet points that I didn't rehearse anything to. So let's go ahead and see where let's see where this goes. All right. Transitions are just as weird as beginnings. You see, a transition is what happens when I started one thing and end up talking about. Hey, does anybody have like any real? A lot of people out there should have a lot more appreciation for like animation channels on YouTube. I'm not saying this because like appreciate I have just as much appreciation for them as the people who make like scripted, well thought out content. But I don't know. It always appeared like it was uh, it was so much more difficult to make an animation rather than like to act out something. Because if I wanted to do this, that takes no thought at all. It's just like put your hand up, wiggle your fingers. I can do it without even thinking about it. Like I'm not even thinking. I'm thinking about speaking right now. But to an animator, you have to physically move every single part of it. Make sure every single part moves the exact same way you want it to make, and then move coherently, and then sync up to like whatever sound you want to focus it up to. And it seems like I've always wanted to like learn how to do it because I can decently draw. I can draw as good as somebody who has no experience drawing. Like, what's your experience in the art background? Sitting down at a table for most of art class and then not following directions. Pretty much just freehand drawing stuff. I have a book about how to draw manga, and I gotta say, I have not read it once, not even skimmed through it. It's an interesting filler piece for all my other nerdy shit. But like I said, I don't know how to draw. And I have so much respect for them because for the longest period of time, it blew my mind that people could draw just on a computer. Because I was stupid enough to be like, well, how are they drawing on a computer? How are they doing that? So I know I'm stupid, so I always imagine like them having a little touchpad. Like I've said before, I'm filming all of this on the. I'm hoping this is just a startup gear, and I'm not gonna stagnate and keep it where it is. I want to like upgrade my system, and get everything run. If I can play Skyrim with 300 mods on my computer, then that's my life goal so far. I don't give a shit about owning a house, a car. I don't care. I just want a computer that can run Skyrim with 300 mods. But I always imagine like if you were gonna draw something, you would use this little like touchpad and like move around the mouse. And it was like I don't know. It made me feel stupider for just even thinking that. Cause like, what's it gonna do? All right, what's gonna happen is you're gonna draw something by moving your finger across the little mouse, and then like, well, these guys have really good control over their finger movement. And then I saw somebody who's like, oh, maybe they're just like drawing something and then scanning it, like on one of those things you use to send messages to people, like the little thing that comes on a printer. And then it also occurred to me like, what if they have like special drawing pens and like special touch screens? And then it realized like how stupid I thought I originally was. And now I got a good grasp on it. I'm like, oh, it's significantly easier than I originally thought, but but I can't do any of it. Just bit. If I would turn into an animation channel at some point, it would not nearly be as easy as it would have been. As easy as I think it could have been. Because I would fuck it up so easily. But like, there are a few animation channels that that I'm gonna give a ton of credit to. Probably the most popular one is Jaden Animations. I just recently got into her stuff. Just recently, like a week and a half ago, and she edits way better than I'll ever be able to. And not only does she edit better than I do, she also draws better than I do. And it there's like a flow to everything that she does, and it's so well done. Like the only reason I knew about this is because I was the only reason I know about her is, well, everybody knows about her. She's kind of one of the you were in YouTube Rewind 2018, I think. I don't remember. I don't keep up with them. I keep up with them if they're shitty, but then like after like a month later, I don't care. Like I was the only reason I like found her is like I was on my DS and I was playing a game like this game like it was an old game that I hadn't touched in forever and I was playing it, and then I like found out, I'm like, why does nobody else know about this game? Let me check it out. And I went on Google and I typed like the name of the game. It was called Fossil Fighters, and I love it. It's one of my childhood games. It to me is like what Earthbound is to a lot of people. Like I didn't have that type of childhood where I got to play Earthbound. But when I was playing it, I looked up like, is there anybody still talking about it? So I looked it up on YouTube, and it was like all these different things. And it was like, here's a link to the subreddit. And I'm like, what's a subreddit? Because I didn't know about Reddit at the time. And now I know about it. And now I use it a lot. Like a lot. I creep on Reddit all the time. Just there upvoting stuff and saving the pictures just so I can send it to my friends who don't use Reddit. So I just send. That's fucked up. Save, send. And then like I was going through it and I found a video that was titled like, I found like, whoa, fossil fighters or r/fossil fighters. Oh, it's a subreddit. Cool. And I clicked on it. And I went through it and it's like, these guys really appreciate this old game. And they're still talking about it. It gets updated every once in a while. And then one of the things that popped up is like, brand new on the subreddit, Jaden Animations made a video dedicated towards it. And I was like, no way. I just got back into this game like 2 weeks ago. There was no way somebody like with over 5 million subscribers just so happened to get into the game as well. And then I watched the video, and then I called myself out on it. I got on YouTube and I looked it up. I'm like, holy shit. She likes the game. She's got a cute personality too. Like everything she says, she makes funny jokes, and I don't know. I just like what she does. That is. And now I got bored and I just ended up binge watching a lot of the videos that she has. And it's weird seeing like animations the way that I approached animation channels when I was a kid, when I first got on YouTube, was so like 10-year-old. Like animation, what can I look up with animation? Superheroes fighting. And that's all I got. And that's how I found Death Battle. And I love that channel to death. Like I watch everything I watch every Death Battle that comes out. I sometimes watch the podcasts. Yes, they're awesome. And then I'm like, well, what other animation channels are there? So I started thinking like, didn't I subscribe to like a few of them when I was younger? So I kept scrolling through it until eventually And I'm like, oh, this is a weird one with Zeomult animations. What's that? And I clicked on it, and it was like these like visceral fights between like people, and it's so like the voice acting is meh, but it's still better than what I could do. So that's either ragging on me or good for you. But it's like the way that he does the animations, he, she, whoever the hell, uh, the way that it's done is like there's ones for Hulk versus Saitama. There's uh, Godzilla versus King Kong, which that one's amazing and it fits so well into the series. If you haven't seen it, anybody watching this, check it out. It's so well done because the way that they animate all of it is like it's not like quick little where like the punches sound like you're flicking a book or a piece of paper or anything. It's more like a heavy weighted hit is coming down and just that's not a good comparison. Like it has that weight to it, that like deep clapping sound of the flesh meeting flesh hard. Like there's nothing that I can compare it to, but it's almost like if you watch those nature documentaries where you see like two rams about to fight each other, and then you just hear them, and then they like click together really hard. You can almost like it's that, and it's so satisfying to watch because like the distraction that happens, the fighting, all like they respect the characters when they do it. Like I think the one that they're doing right now is Guile from Street Fighter versus the Winter Soldier. I know a lot about the Winter Soldier. I don't know shit about Guile because the only people I know about in Street Fighter are Akuma, Dan, Ryu, and Blanca because he's weird, and I thought he was cool, and it was such a cool game, and it's such a cool channel because like he, she, whoever puts time into it, that it's just I don't think I could put that much time into it, and I don't think a lot of other places could put time into it, and it's so like everything that happens is believable for the characters and the damage, the attacks, the feel of everything that's happening fits so it's so crisp to watch. It's like if other like the Godzilla versus King Kong fight that happens is so like they're so there's weight behind everything. He doesn't up they don't upload a lot. I'm gonna say he a lot and then like snap over to they because like I don't know them. I don't know them. They can do what they want. They always do what they're putting like time and effort into what they're making. They're not just like, oh, this is gonna be my gig. I'll make this, and this. I'll make it once a day and then like feed off of that as an income. The guy's probably doing it as like a side thing, and it shows. Like they have talent. They have really good work for it, and it's so good. Well, Hyun's Dojo is another really good one that I like because they come out with a ton of content all the time, and it's most of the stuff they do is like stick figures, and it's really like basic character design, but the fights can get like so extra and anime ish, and it's so like they'll pull out weapons that are from different things like stick figure fight, weapons cache, and it just ends up being like two stick figures of different colors fighting each other, and they like switch over to different things, and it's so cool to watch. I don't watch them nearly as much as I should. Like they put too much time into it. They deserve more than I'm giving them. and for today, well, glowing C. Fallout fan and proud. Now, still sticking with Fallout 76. I know it can get better. But I'm not going to talk about Bethesda today because I feel like that's a topic for some other time. That is not in the script, and I will leave it like that. I should probably write that down when this thing is this thing is getting uploaded. Just there's so much time and effort. Like, I remember liking those types of animations when I was a kid, and I had my little DSi, and it hadn't been like outdated to the 3DS at this point. So I was just sitting there going through like all the different things that I could download, and then I got to like, uh, shit, I forgot what it's called. It was a little app that I used to love getting onto, where you could like make your, I think it was called Flipnote, and it was like your own little animation studio where you could draw something, and then there would be like, you could you could do your own little animations where you could like draw a stick figure. Or the next page you could draw the stick figure and you could have a little hat on him, and then it would just be like the constant. That's what I used it for, because I didn't do well at it. But like I would hook it up to the internet every once in a while when I could, because I didn't have unlimited internet for the longest time as a kid. Like I got unlimited internet like 3 years ago, and I haven't stopped using it. But when I could hook it up to it, I would go into like these little group. I would go into like this little online community that they had, and they were like the highest rated animations. And this. It was these animations that were so well put together, and they would have like music that the guys recorded in the background that would like match perfectly, and nobody could copyright shit because it was just on the DS, and it was made so well. Like, these people didn't have to do it. This is probably like a 20-year-old guy who plays, like, the top thing was probably made by like a 20-year-old who bought a DSi because he wanted to play Pokemon, because he wanted to like get away from student loans, and he was just like, this is awesome, oh wait, what's this? It came free with the DS. And they like open it up and say, it's an animation studio. I know my art degree was not going to go to waste. And then he would just go crazy on it. You couldn't make profits off it. It was just fun for fun's sake. And these guys were good. It was so cool. Well, and God, it gave me appreciation for the animation that's out now. If there's a new animated movie coming out that doesn't look like it's pandering to children by being a product of its time, it's going to be, I will go out and see it. Like, Big Hero 6 I saw because the animation looked beautiful, and it didn't look like it was pandery, and it had the Fall Out Boy soundtrack that it would always advertise with, and I'm like, yeah, I love Fall Out Boy. I was going through a phase. Everybody goes through that emo phase. If you're born from like 1998 to 2004, you're gonna be an emo at one point in your life. You're gonna sit there in a car. You're gonna sit there. You all have that memory of like your mom or your dad or whoever driving you to like school, or driving you to like a doctor's appointment that's in like 3 counties over. So you're sitting there with your earbuds in, and you're listening to like, when I was a young boy, my father took me into the city. And you'll just be sitting there, and then like that drum solo will come up, and you're just like, well, carry on. I forgot how the song goes. I haven't heard it in forever. Or you'll be listening to like, if you're born at that time, you're definitely gonna be the guy. You're definitely gonna be one of those kids that's like listening to Linkin Park, and it's just, and he'll just have like that emo music when you've grown out of an emo phase is such like a relief, because like you still sympathize with all like the feelings that are going through it, but like you just leave it alone. You just leave all the stuff that's like all the sadness that's supposed to be filling you because of how like dark the music is, And then he just like let it wash past you, like, yes, it's sad. It's sad. Let it be. Let it be. Appreciate the guitar, the noise coming from the guy's face. You don't care. And it feels so good. Uh, I spent 20 minutes talking. I have like four things written down on my script. And I spent 20 minutes talking about one of them. I feel like I should move on. Transitions are weird. Ramen. Ramen. Just. Can we appreciate ramen for a second? I know I've said a lot of stuff about how I like anime and how I like all this shit, but I knew ramen before I liked anime. By like a lot. Like I would see my brother. Like I ate it when I was like 6, and I didn't even know what Pokemon was until I was 8. Growing up poor makes you appreciate all the foods that you can buy for $2 and then survive on for the next 3 days. It's like, can we just appreciate everything that like that it does? I know it's I know it's a weird thing to say, like, oh, but you've never had like real ramen before. Yeah, because I can't afford real ramen. I can afford the red packets that it comes in, and I take them, I crush them up, and split it into fours. Like, box right here, box right here, split down in 4 ways. That was my phone. That's the phone reveal. 10,000 subs, and you'll get a caseless phone reveal. But you guys can sub if you want. I don't care. It's not like, hey, more friends for me. If not, you got better stuff to do. I understand. That's the first time I think I've ever said, like, you could sub to me or not. I'm giving you permission to sub to me. Misuse that, and I swear to God, I will be sad. That there will be ramifications, and it will be in my brain. All the ramifications will be psychological to me. I will be sad. Be nice. Don't do drugs. I don't know. But like when I was growing up, I wasn't exactly like high class. Like it was always a mix between like we just got you a new bike and we can't afford groceries this week. It was I would never say like I was poor, but I knew there was a split moment. I know I always had like that feeling where I was on edge where like if shit goes down a hill, I was prepared for it. Which means there were three friends that I had my entire time I was a kid. Macaroni and cheese, hot dogs, ramen. Cause doesn't take anything to make any of them. What do you need for mac and cheese? I mean, if you're in real survival mode, you just need the box. Nice. If we were having like those Velveeta shells and cheese, we were living a good day. That was a good day for us, and we all felt good. I didn't order pizza until I was 13 years old. Not even like I didn't order pizza. Like my parents didn't call a pizza place. We didn't get pizza from anywhere. We decided like, have we ever gotten pizza before? No, we haven't. Now we get it like once a week because my dad doesn't know how to cook, and going to Subway every single day is expensive as shit, especially for what I get. And ramen always felt good. Like I never made it bad, which is probably like people who grew up around ramen their entire life. Like, go ahead, say what you did. All I did is add water, mix, and then put it in there for 2.5 minutes. And everybody else is like, you didn't boil the water yourself? You let it cook in a microwave? Well, yeah, I didn't add anything to it forever. You see my skin color? This means I know how to make two things. One of them is macaroni and cheese. The other one is hot dogs. Alex, if I were somebody else, I probably would have better. I probably would be better. Like, if I could cheat, like, if I could eat, like, a good type of ramen, like, the good set, like, when you turn on, like, Naruto, and there's eventually, like, that one scene where he's like, I want to go to the ramen shop, and then he gets that big ass bowl. Like, I always stare at that bowl, like, you didn't, why did you spend your animation budget on food you know I can't eat or afford? And now, like, now that I know like what other countries have done with it and what other people in my own country have done with ramen, it makes me so like it infuriates me about how much I suck at it. This is gonna get very narcissistic because I'm gonna talk about myself for the longest period of time until I can like figure out a way to like talk about other people. So just bear with me on the whole thing. I know I sound narcissistic when I just say I over and over again, but I feel like you guys don't care, but I do because it's getting stuck in the back of my head. It's like, stop being a dick. Hey, talk about somebody else. Like, I don't know anybody else. But like, I sucked at making ramen for the longest period of time. But now I've got it down to like the closest of a science I can get for the white trashiest way to make ramen. I know there's like hardcore guys out there, like my friend Christian. Also, if you're watching this, Christian, I salute you, man. Have fun in the Marines. I have a friend in the Marines. If you hear anything from him, keep an eye out. He's a nice guy. He's a big fucking nerd, and I wouldn't trade him. Every other one of my friends who's watching this, I will eat you without question. Christian gets a pass. Fuck you guys. Uh, it would not be that white trashy way that you make ramen where it's just water, the powder, you put it in the microwave for 2.5 minutes. The way that I make it up is like the bowl is like this thick, and like the ramen once you put it in, you can get it to where like it's filled up this amount. So I fill it to like this much with water, like just enough to where there's like pieces of it that none of the pieces float, but there's like big. It's almost like you're making it out of icebergs, but the bottom of the iceberg is always touching the bottom. And like when I do that, it's just enough to where it soaks into the noodles and it like fills them with whatever flavor is there, but it doesn't like all the way soak in, so you still get the juice at the bottom. There's a fine line that I fuck it up at. Like every once in a while, I'll put too much water in it, and it'll waterlog the noodles, and it'll start soaking up more. There would be too much juice, and the flavor will be too spread out, and the noodles will be waterlogged, and they'll fall apart in your mouth, and it'll feel gross because you can like half see through them as you go to pick them up. If you add too little, then it's gonna do the same thing where like the noodles are gonna be harder than they should and they'll all start absorbing whatever liquid they can, and then like that bottom part of the liquid will just be like thick and brothy, and it's not gonna taste as good. But if you get it on just the right note, the noodles will like not have enough time because you can't like leave it out for a while. When you get the noodles, you gotta start like eating the little bits that are like broke up when you're crushing up the thing into fours, and then you see like those chunks that were like they've spread out, they've turned into actual noodles. That's when you can like just appreciate those. And then once you're left with like that clear-ish bowl of like just the soup left over, the clearer it is and the more consistency it is to water, you know you've had it. You know you've done it like perfectly. And it's so good. I'm gonna check my phone real quick. Nope, we're good. And you know you've done it so well, and like I get that like 1 out of 5 times. The rest of the times I'm like I pull the thing out, I'm like, oh, it looks like it's gonna be good. I walk back to my room, put it on my desk where I'm like I put it like right here, and I go to look at it, I'm like, I fucked up. I'm still gonna eat it, but like I'm not gonna feel good about it. And then, yeah, if anime people could come to life, I wouldn't give a shit about cat girls for like 4 months. I would just like talk to all the guys who own ramen shops and I'd ask them how to make their shit. Yeah. I'm like, anime is real. What's the first thing you do? I got some cooking recipes you motherfuckers owe me. Because I've been watching you make food for the longest period of time. And I did not deserve that kind of torture. You guys are gonna teach me, or I'm gonna start throwing hands. Uh, Speaking of unrealistic things that are probably not gonna happen, but hopefully, no, they're good. But unless, no, unless. But I remember a little bit ago in comic book history. Yeah, we're switching from ramen to comic books. Deal with it. In comic book history, there was a little bit of like there was a thing that happened in the Marvel universe, Marvel and DC, where they had a crossover, and it was the coolest shit ever. But it made me feel so bad for like all the stuff that happened because like characters that should have been super dope fighting other characters, like there was Captain America versus Batman, and I think like in the same time period it was Punisher versus Batman, and Batman won both of them because like I'm the Batman. Bullshit. I know all the different fighting styles and I'm a billionaire. Like, shut up. Frank Castle does not like pull razor blades out of his arm because that's the only place he can keep them. Unless he can keep them, just so you can like complain about how you got your back broken by a luchador. And then Captain America is like, I'm strong enough to throw a shield straight through metal. And then Batman's like, I can, like, one finger press and, like, it takes him down for, like, just then. Fuck you. Fuck you. No, Captain America did not get all that character development just so you could Vulcan nerve pinch him. And then there was another fight that happened in it where it's Batman versus the Hulk, and you're like, holy shit, this is gonna be so cool. Batman's gonna bring out like all these different things, and then he's like, nerve pinch. Like, fuck you. Fuck you. You did not do that to the Hulk. The Hulk deserves more respect than his stupid ass. Just as like a disclaimer, I respect Superman and I respect Batman, but God, they're like, they're so fucking played out, and everybody who stands them so much, I don't like them anymore. It's like, why can he do that? Because he's the Batman. No, no, I don't accept that. Get a real answer. Captain America, the Hulk, and the Punisher are all gonna lose a fight to Batman, but Spider-Man can fucking beat him. Spider-Man, the 15, 16-year-old kid that he is, oh, he just happens to have a nerve sense to where he can, like, sense everything. Yeah, Hulk can punch a planet in half if he, like, tries. And you think Batman giving him the old, like, oh, what's over here, pinch, and then he's dead. And then he's just done. He goes back to Bruce Banner. Fuck you. Yeah, I don't know why. That's the thing that pisses me off most in comic. Like, that is... I want to say that's bad writing, but I'm not a good writer, so I'm just going to say it's a dick move. Like, respect my heroes. And fuck Batman, just in general. Oh, you like Batman? Oh, you like DC? So that means you like Batman. Actually, I like Jason Todd a lot better than I like Batman. I think he's more complex of a character, and he's overall has a more interesting personality. Oh, well, that means you like Superman, right? I also prefer the Flash over him because the Flash also has an actual personality rather than being, I'm the symbol of justice. I am here for peace, truth, and the American way. And the Flash is like, not only am I just trying to make sure everyone lives, but I have to keep the timeline in check. If I go to full speed, I can punch harder than Superman. I can time travel. And continuity doesn't fuck up my abilities every 7 months when they decide they want to make an Elseworld story. Plus, he looks cooler. The mask, it looks better. It's like, oh, why do people. Here's a complex story about how my glasses are made of specialized kryptonite that changes the appearance of my face to slight degrees that makes it where nobody can understand who I am. All right. My bullshit meter is detecting a lot of stuff. And that's a long excuse for something that I don't think is true. But then the Flash has a mask, and his personality contradicts his abilities. Like, the Flash is always late everywhere he goes. He walks slow for a person of his size. And his normal work shoes are smaller than his like running boots that are on his Flash suit. So it changes everything about them. So it changes his actual height. He looks like more defined because he's like hard pressed. He's not in like a suit or like a t-shirt. Clark Kent is always in like a suit that barely fits in. It's curved to show off his muscles. He still has like, what's the most prominent feature of him? His fucking hair and his jawline. But apparently nobody notices it when he like takes off the cape. When he puts the cape on and just decides, oh, cool. He's a different person. Never would have guessed. And then like everybody says something about Marvel. Actually, I was keeping an eye on the. It finished up a little bit ago, but the Doomsday Clock series that came out recently for just off. Close enough. The Doomsday Clock series that's come out recently for what's it called, for DC, where they're trying to merge the Watchmen universe of Alan Moore and the regular DC universe by saying like the slight changes that have been happening is Dr. Manhattan messing with it until it eventually leads to him. I'm not gonna spoil it, but at a certain part in it, Dr. Manhattan is looking through the fixed universe that has happened, and he points out in a whole bunch of different things. And one of the things that he points out is like, in this year, this happens. In this year, this happens. In this year, this happens. And one of the years he says, like, in 20, whatever the number, I see a giant green hulking mass fighting Superman. And, like, did you just describe the Hulk fighting Superman? That's all I've wanted to see for the longest period of time. It's like, are they going to do another crossover? Because they haven't done one since, like, the 90s, I think? I don't know when the crossover originally happened. I just remember, like, Darkseid getting the Infinity Gauntlet and being like, it doesn't work unless it's in its own universe. And he's like, oh, this is bullshit then. And he, like, throws it off. Thanos is like, baby! And he, like, picks up his glove. He's like, I love you. I don't want anybody to hurt you. Did the big bad rock man hurt you? And he goes back into his own universe and I don't know. I really want if there's another crossover, I'm going to be so excited. I'm going to keep up. I'm actually going to keep up with it this time. I'm not going to like just wait until like the comic story end comes out with a video with like a 4.5 hour video that talks about the crossover. I'll probably watch that anyway. And I think that brings us to the last thing on my list, which is more of an explanation than it is a talking point. So here's a transition. Comics are unrealistic and have a lot of things that involve plot armor. Speaking of that, anime. Now, I know some people out there is like, anime is trash, anime is for nerds, anime is for whoever, but like, there's cool shit out there. There's cool shit out there, trust me. It's like, oh, you don't like the basic protagonist ends up in another world, there's a harem of chicks, he doesn't pick a single one of them just so he can keep the romantic tension going, and then he one-shots every single bad guy with... He fights the bad guy, he loses, the power of friendship. Bam! Gets all the way to the final bad guy. He's losing worse than he's ever lost before. Or uh, maybe one of the characters that he doesn't want to fuck dies, and then he like stands up. He's like, "With the power of friendship," and then the anime theme song starts playing, and then the boss is like, "Ah, oh, I've seen this before," and he's like, instant one shot the bad guy. It's like, I know those are generic, and like not everybody likes those, unless you're like, let's just play this in the background while I'm like grinding out levels on Borderlands. Like, then they're fun, but like other than that, they're not. Other than that, they're not my thing. But like, I really do enjoy anime on like a lot of different levels. There are ones that like they've hit me emotionally. Oh yeah, just one thing. I didn't want to mean to flex on anybody, but this is not impressive, by the way. No. Uh, there are some that are like impressive, as in the animation is so crisp and beautiful, and everything just the movement of the way everything is done is so amazing. Some of them have uh, characters that, if they came out of there, I would personally believe that they are like, they have enough development as like who they are, that if that character writing was put into the brain of an actual human being and they just went and lived their own life, they could be their own person. They wouldn't be like, oh, he's doing some weird things. Like, he would be a person. But then again, like, so that could be done for movies and that could be done for TV. But like, so much crazy stuff happens in anime that like your suspension of disbelief has been thrown out the window and you're willing to accept a whole bunch of stuff that happens. Like uh Dead Man Wonderland. Yeah. In it, a kid goes to class. A strange magical sort of guy shows up to his class and kills every kid in the room except for him. And he does it all with a big explosion. So you're like, oh, well, that's lucky for him. And then the court in the show, I'm not going to say anything about spoilers because this is just like stuff that happened. This is first episode. Everybody talks about like, oh, well, he's the only person that survived, so he's going to go to jail. This is like a 14-year-old kid, I'm pretty sure. There. He's going to jail. He doesn't just go to jail, he goes to a supermax prison on the death sentence. Like, he was clearly hurt in the explosion, but yet they still think he was the perpetrator of the whole thing. Because his lawyer sucked ass. So, a child has the death penalty and is sent to a supermax prison that is also a privately owned prison that is also a theme park. Like, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief there, but, like, the way that it's drawn and the way the dialogue works is, like, you kind of believe it. Once you get to, like, the part where they start doing crazy shit, like, and, like, blood starts coming out of their hand and they focus it like a bullet, like, that's where you call bullshit on it. Like, okay, now I realize I'm watching an anime. But I've accepted so much up until this point that I kind of want to see where the rest goes. And it's a thing. I just need to know what happens. And there are some things where the world is just so well built that it never breaks your suspension of disbelief. Like, crazy shit can happen, but you would always like look at it like, yeah, yeah, give me more. Just whatever you're doing to build this world, I'm mostly for it because everything that's happening makes sense. The best one that I can say for that is full Fullmetal Mr. Brotherhood. I'm not saying that because I wanted to. I'm saying that because I subscribe to Nuxtaku and I can't not say it that way anymore. It's that. I'm not gonna say it again. And Attack on Titan. Like, the worlds are so, at least in my experience, the worlds are so like intricately built to where if one thing happens, you kind of accept it. Like, how do they get horses over the walls in Attack on Titan? Well, they just like lift. Well, they have like elevators where they lift them up, they move them over to the other side, and they lift them down. They can't open the gates because Titans are scary as fuck, and they don't want anybody to get in. But they can't risk that. And I'm like, all right, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, how do they fight these things? Well, they use this propellant gear where they have like a belt that shoots out like Spider-Man zip lines, and they come up and they slash things in the back. That's a weird option, but like the way that you explain it, it makes it seem like if you were a paraglider, like those guys who have the squirrel suits, whatever the fuck they're called. It makes it seem like that, but you have fucking swords. And it's such a cool concept. Like, it feels real. The world feels like it's a thing. Even though there's big fucking monsters that are trying to eat people, and those monsters can like somehow harden their skin. They all want to eat people, but they don't need to eat people. They just like fill up their stomach, then they throw it up and they keep moving. It's it feel it's fantasy, but you feel the fantasy on like a level that you probably shouldn't have. Like, you should feel like it's a thing. And then there are stories that draw you into the characters and they make you feel for everything that's happening in them. Main one over there, the bottom, like the mid shelf, this shelf, the one I'm pointing at right now, this one, all of that, is dedicated to Berserk because of how perfect I think it is. It's it's dark, it's gritty, it doesn't shy away from anything. The character has gone through so much development over so much time that he has a personality. He has the struggles that he's gone through. He has everything that he's needed. And his actions that he takes is all based on all the stuff that he's gone through. And it's almost believable. He has this like internal anger that you see build throughout his entire backstory. Alright, and once it finally hits like that part where shit goes down, you like understand like why is he so, like you'll never get to that point in the movie and then it'll be like why is he so angry? Like you get it. You understand that anger to its core. You're right there with him with the anger. Shit goes down and it hits the fan, you immediately feel that strength inside of you saying like fuck you, and then you would go after the bad guy himself. And I think, and then those characters that are made, like, they're so over the top, but, like, they're human to their core. Like, a lot of the stuff they do in it is, like, just stupid enough to where it's believably a person. Sure, they could be doing stuff like summoning a monster to fight on the battlefield for them, or they have superpowers where they can just like punch you in the throat, and then like as soon as they pull their hand back, your throat is 100% healed. Because that's his ability. The characters feel so like detailed and real. And my personal pick for like the most human and characterized, at least protagonist that I can think of, who's like, he's goofy enough to where he's understandably a perk. He's 16 years old, and when I was 16, I did all the same shit as him. Maybe not around the community because, like, I'm a nerd. I don't go out all that much. If I do go out, it's to work or school or because I have to go mail something and I have to go to the post office. But like, it has this thing. It has this feeling of like a person. His actions are that of like a person. He sees this guy. Why is he so mad? Why is he beating the shit out of them? And then he like rethink like, oh, this happened to him, this happened to him, this happened to him. He's like, yeah, that's an appropriate response. He starts going over the top. Like, my personal pick for the character that I think is this human and this feeling of like well written to be a human in a cartoon anime. No, let's reverse that. A human in an anime that feels the most real is Josuke Higashikata from Part 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Personally, he's my favorite JoJo of the series that's been animated so far. He's my favorite main character. And I love JoJo's. I have a shirt of them that I got when I went to a convention a little bit ago, and it's amazing. It's not a Part 4 shirt, it's a Part 5, and those guys are awesome too. You should watch JoJo! No, I'm not kidding. You should watch JoJo. It's fucking awesome. It's so, like, the people in it, they're like, oh, yeah, they're stupid for the role of being the stupid guy. Josuke doesn't fit a lot of those roles. He doesn't fit, like, the smartass. He doesn't fit the dumbass. He doesn't fit, like, the protagonist. He doesn't fit, like, the lazy guy. Like, he's a human. Like, what's he doing on, like, a Saturday night when a bad guy is out hunting it? He's fucking playing video games because he's a kid in the 90s. He's probably, like, on an he's, like, on a N60, not, I don't know when it came out. Maybe he was on, like, a Sega. Maybe he was on, like a Dreamcast, whatever. I don't remember what came out. I was born in 2000. I don't remember what came out in the 90s. Part 4 is set in 1999. I don't know what happened back then. And it's so, like, well, what's he doing? What's he doing when he's at school? He's at school. You see him in school. Oh, well, what's he doing when he's not at school? Walking around the neighborhood, hanging out with his friends, doing whatever he wants. He's not, like, He's not, like, waiting around for the plot to happen. He's a kid. He's actually a person. He's a 16-year-old kid doing what he wants. Once somebody makes fun of his hair, he lashes out because he's pissed because he has, like, a backstory about why he doesn't like people making fun of his hair, but, like, that still fits. It's a 16-year-old kid getting made fun of by other high schoolers. You're gonna lash out. I was a dick when I was in high school. Well, if somebody, like, made fun of my clothes, I would make fun of their clothes just so that we could be even until they started, like, getting above that. Then I would start going over the top. If somebody, like, it's very relatable on a lot of different levels as a person. Because he's a kid. Because he's a kid and he's accurately portrayed as a kid. He's not like those Disney Channel shows where it's like, I'm a kid. Yeah, dude, you're played by a 23-year-old guy. You're not a kid. Or they actually bring out a kid and he's like, I'm a kid. He's like, why do you own a company then? Why do you own this is not this is not a story. Or, and he's just as smart as a person. He's not like plot relevant, like pushes anime glasses up a little bit to where they shine and says, it's quite simple, really. No, it's like he's thinking his shit on the fly like a normal person would do. He doesn't like pull a solution out of his ass. You see him actually like get hurt in it and you react. Like in the show his grandpa died and he sat there and like broke down because his grandfather was dead. And he tried his hardest to make everything feel better. And I didn't understand that until about a year and a half later when my grandpa died. And I did the same things that he did. Like I sat there, I cried, I wanted to see if I could make it better. He meant a lot to me. And everything that happened, it played out the same way. Like the loss and feeling of what happened there directly felt like it carried over. It made so much, it was so, this is a testament to the writing and the characters, but it didn't need to be written that well. You were good where you were, but you pushed it a step further and you made everything that happened just human. You made a drawing on a piece of paper human. It fit. It did not need to fit. But if that person just filled in for somebody who doesn't have a mind and then went on with his life, his experiences would be that of a normal human being. It would fit perfectly. This is all coming from a guy who's wearing a mask and a dinosaur hoodie with a Fallout shirt with nerdy shit coming up. You can take whatever I'm saying like it's real or not, but it still doesn't change that, like, it just fit. It fit. That's all I can say. It fit. This is longer than I thought it was gonna be. So, like I said, you don't just have to watch JoJo's because of how stupid it is and how crazy it gets and how there's like music references being thrown around everywhere and how everybody's super buff and everybody who's not buff is super like twinky. But yeah, like watch JoJo's. It's worth your time. But yeah, I think this went better. It's the first time I actually had something of a script set up. So if I can, maybe I'd like to do it again sometime. See you guys around, and for now, RedSon, setting for the day. Bye, guys.